Welcome back to another Purpose Served podcast episode. I'm your host, Daryl Wingfield. If you're new to this podcast is about helping you take the initiative and necessary actions towards your dreams and aspirations, no matter how crazy they are. And please go back if you also new to the previous podcast to get a better feel for it, man. There's some great episodes with a lot of great guests that was on in the past. And today we are going to be talking about New Year, New Me. It's quite obvious why we're talking about that. We at the end of the year, and a lot of people around this time they do a lot of reflection. Also, we're thinking about others as well in this time of year, getting gifts for other people and the whole entire nine. But going into the new year, most people want to be the ideal versions of themselves, man. That's the whole point of New Year, New Me. Now, mainly when you hear stuff like that, it's pertaining to going to the gym, you know. That's like the primary thing, but that's obviously not everything of why people say New Year, New Me or set goals for themselves. And today I wanted to talk about properly setting goals, like correctly doing it and going about it in a way where it wouldn't lead to burnout or the goal, shouldn't be so easy that, it takes you one day or a split moment to accomplish that goal. Goals should be fairly out of like your reach, like to the point where you got to do a little, you know, arm extension in order to grab it, but nothing in a way where it's borderline impossible for you to get it. Because things like that especially lead to burnout. And specifically with me and my basketball journey of how I even came about starting Purpose Served and this podcast in general, a lot of my goals that I set were definitely way too high and out of my reach. But I adapted to that mindset and to how high those goals were. So instead of me dumbing it down, which I should have did, I ramped it up even more for myself, productivity wise. Like do more, do more, do more, do more. You're not doing enough, Daryl. And going about your goals in this kind of way is very, very dangerous. Now, this goes back to like the OG podcast episodes where I talked about knowledge versus action and how one too much of one can be a detrimental all in all to whatever it is that you're going for. So this is more so on the action side. When I was in this type of mindset, I would try to work out 3 times a week. I mean, 3 times a day, typically ranging from 2 hours. So 6 hours out of my day was dedicated to working out, and 4 or 5 of those hours would be strictly playing basketball. And I was supposed to be doing things like lifting and conditioning, but I typically stayed on the court, worked on things that I felt like I was weak at. But my days would start off with me waking up around like 5 o'clock in the morning and trying to be at the gym by 5:30. And then from 5:30 to 7:30, I'm at the gym and give myself a break until 11, 12 o'clock and go 2 hours again, and then go at it again from 7 to 9. And I would try to do this pretty much every single day without giving myself a rest day. I didn't really necessarily believe in rest, and this led to me getting like burnt out a lot to the point where my body would shut down from me not listening to it, and I would get sick as hell, like sick as a dog. Like I couldn't get out of bed and do the things that I really wanted to from literally not listening to my body and not giving it the proper rest that it needed. But this was also goes into play where I was out of balance with like my mind, body, and spirit because I was going for something that was so far fetched that I exerted myself way too much, too often. Uh, but in retrospect, looking back at it all, I'm happy that because it developed my work ethic and my intensity to work hard every single day. Because I wanted something so bad and I loved what I was doing that much. If you don't love what you're doing, you won't put in those necessary hours that you need to put in, or you won't challenge yourself in a proper way that you need to be challenged in order to accomplish or achieve the goal that you're going for. And this is a hindrance for many people. You only live this life once. And with that being said, you have to be very, very critical of the things that you are pursuing for your life work, and also the time that you're dedicating to that. And this is something that gets always gets reiterated on this podcast, is just that when you make decisions like that, they come with sacrifices automatically. Please check out the previous podcast pertaining that. I got one specifically called Sacrifices. If you guys want to check that out, I'm gonna probably put the link right up there in the top corner if you're watching this on YouTube. But if you're listening to it, it's called Sacrifices, I believe. But when you think about it, there's higher faculties at work all a given time, and what keeps them grounded is our five senses. Just straight coming from a human's perspective, and this is about to get deep as I always do. Just to let you guys know that I'm not really into God honest truth, materialistic things. I'm not into superficial things. I don't necessarily give a shit about uh, things that people necessarily care about. What I truly care about is understanding what the absolute truth is and how we can create from whatever that absolute truth is, you know? And this is what I mean, right? Just going based off of the five senses, what we can like smell, what we touch, what we see, what we hear, and what we taste. Based off of those five things, that's how we generally perceive the world around us. But there's so much more that there's a deep knowing that we know that there's more that comes with it than just those five senses that I just named. But we sure as hell live as though that's the reality. And I believe that that's where we can get caught up into setting the wrong goals for ourselves, and even going about the goals that we do set like the right goals and going about them incorrectly. There has to be a balance of understanding the things um that you can't see, that you can't touch, that you can't taste, that you can't hear, all because that shit to me is more real than the five senses that I just told you. I think that thoughts are more real than the senses, because if you hear how wacky that I actually talk on this podcast, there is some strong pertaining truths in it. No matter how wacky it is, it's just your level of you wanting to understand these type of things, and it gets you closer to yourself, and you'll be able to perform or do a task to the best of your ability if you know how you think and how that translate to your five senses. And think about this. We all know what cars are, but I'm pretty sure, me throwing that out there, the car that I'm thinking about is completely different from the car that y'all are thinking about. Or when I say a chair, I'm pretty sure a chair that I'm thinking about is completely different from the chair that you're thinking about. This is beyond our five senses, and this goes to another realm that's not visible or tangible. But I always talk about this is where the true power lie, and all living organisms and everything rely on goals for its survival and to maintain. For example, even the cells that operate in our body. For example, even the cells that operate in our body, they they have goals. The goal is they know that they have a job to do wherever they're at in order for the whole thing to function. And I can't say because I'm not an expert at any of those things. This is just me, God honest truth, talking out my ass. But this is something that you guys can see like for yourselves that the thoughts that you have about your future, about your past, about now, they're just as real and even more real than a thing that you can see right in front of you. And this is why I even say that the five senses is, in a way, like an illusion and a limited version of what our reality is. You can only see what's around you, what's directly in front of your eyes. You can't see what's in back of you. You can't see everything that goes on in this planet. You can't taste everything at once. You can't feel everything at once. You go only there's an open window for you to experience these type of things. But our mental faculties and our emotions is something that puts color to that thing. Like, objectively speaking, where I'm at in, this part of the country, even in front of me, I see a camera. I'm feeling kind of cold right now, but somewhere else, you know, in California, for example, in Southern California, they're experiencing different weather, and those people are seeing something completely different than what I'm seeing. So that doesn't necessarily make what I'm seeing true if you guys catching my drift. And we have to perceive things deeper and beyond our five senses in order for us to truly get where we're trying to go in the way that we're trying to get there. We're all unique. And that's why these five senses is in a way helpful, because the things that we think about and what we feel is trying to take shape. It's trying to maintain a form. And when something is trying to maintain a form, it goes by certain functions and certain rules. And that's why I mentioned cars. That's why I mentioned chairs. Those things are forms, but a chair and a car isn't the same thing. They have certain characteristics about them and functions that make those things what it is. Like, all chairs have, legs on them. You sit down. It's just somewhere you can sit. Cars have wheels on them, so you can drive. That's the purpose in them. And somebody thought about this and made it through their five senses and put shape to that form. And I talk about all of these ideas that's so powerful that we have. We can't do it all. We can't do all of them. But the most important thing is to have a goal to bring that into place and to make it a tangible thing. Another example is how this podcast got started. I needed a way to get my thoughts out there about setting goals, achieving goals, and being the highest version of yourself that you possibly can. Uh, and being accountable for that, being responsible, and helping others around you for that same exact cause. Now, this is all thoughts, you know what I mean? But somehow, some way, I told myself that I had to make it tangible, and I didn't know how. It's not like I did this before, but there was something in a different realm that, like I said, was just as real as our five senses that was telling me to bring this thing to life, And I had to understand the form of a podcast and what makes a podcast in order to understand the skeletons and bones to bring it all together, like to understand what RSS feed that I need. If I wanted to have a audio podcast, where do it need to go? What kind of equipment would I need for that visual podcast? How can I record this with a camera, put this all together? This stuff for me at first was very difficult to figure out, but once I figured it out and just, knew what the form was and constantly could copy and paste it essentially, it's as if like that first initial thing of putting it together, I don't have to think like that no more, you know. And this goes beyond, like I said, the five senses. And we we operate on this so much that we don't even realize how much that we live our lives on autopilot. Like for example, waking up and just simply going to work, knowing knowing that you just got to go to work, doing that drive doing the work. You're not really thinking about you driving while you're working. You're in autopilot while you're driving. And I believe that doing things like this over a period of time creates like a mundane routine. You feel me? And that almost creates a life that you're gonna be end up being miserable with. And it's very important to find the functions and actions that's most suitable for you. You know, and it's quite obvious. New year, new me. People, I'm actually a new year, new me person. But if you know that you want to go to the gym, like to lose weight, like that's the goal. Lose 15 pounds for 2022. You need to take those things that's telling you to do that and put a form to it to make it more tangible. Make a schedule knowing that this at this time, this is where I'm going to be for this goal. All living organisms do this. Like for example, um, animals know that this is what they have to do in order to get food. This is what they have to do in order to protect themselves. This is what they have to do for shelter. It's so instinctive, and we operate off these same things. But it's kind of bullshit that we get conditioned heavily to not believe in ourselves, and that's why I believe that it's very difficult for people to cultivate that and maintain a discipline with being unique to themselves. We keep getting bombarded on purpose, deliberately, with music, ads, TV shows, and everything that, is the people that's making it. I don't believe that is harmful. Like, for example, artists is a prime example of that. Um, there's so many different cultures of art when it comes to like certain, like the drill scene of rap. Niggas is blatantly talking about killing each other, blatantly. And this is something that was a thought that took form through music. And then after that, somebody is going to be riding in the car with their guys looking for somebody else to kill because of the vibe that music put them in to do that thing. That was a thought in their head. Like I said, it's going based off of the five senses that they don't even understand. It's some crazy stuff at works, people. And if you don't pay attention to it, you will be a victim to it in some way, shape, or form. And this is why I encourage these kinds of things so heavily, because people don't care about it. And the agenda is to make people not necessarily care about it, to give in to what the masses what the agenda, like everybody's literally looking to get more for themselves, to get better for themselves, and take away from the person that person that's getting better for themselves. It's in a way where we have an extremely competitive society. It's deliberately put that way. People are competing for jobs. People are competing for the highest grade in their class. People are just competing like it's not enough. And that creates a mindset of lack, which leads to that mindset of lack leads to fear, and fear make you operate in a place where you're not comfortable. You're just looking to survive and play it safe, and your five senses is driving that. But what's driving your five senses is those outrageous thoughts that are not real. You know what I mean? But you're making them real. But with those thoughts, if you guys just think about this and stay with me here, those thoughts that's not real, that's fueling this competitive thing and this lack is not enough. There's death all around us. That translate into your actions. That translate into your five senses, and that gives you a false reality on your life and everything that happens around you. But you're perceiving that as a real thing. Y'all catching me? You know what I mean? And I think that y'all might have to just re-listen to this whole thing to really, I guess, make it make sense. But ultimately, like I said, it's this due to the fact of me personally believing that since our thoughts and our feelings are extremely abundant and it's a lot to go around, I'm trying to put that contagious vibe out there, and have people find their unique truth because I believe that it's going to help contribute to us as a whole in society and push us forward in such a positive way. You know, if you like shoemaking, be the best shoemaker that you can be, and somebody is going to appreciate the shoes that you made for them. If you're a baker, bake the best goddamn cake you possibly can make, and somebody's going to eat that cake and appreciate the work that you did. Like if you really care about what you're doing and it's for the betterment of the whole, somebody's going to appreciate it. That's the main reason why I started doing this podcast, because I knew at the end of the day there was going to be somebody that appreciated the truth and it was going to shape them to take action towards going for something that they truly care about, that truly resonated with them, and go after it with all their heart and all their might, wholeheartedly, without necessarily looking for nothing in return, but just feeling like they have to do that. Like that's why I'm doing what I'm doing. It really do genuinely feel like I have to do it, and I do enjoy it. There are times when I don't quite enjoy it so much, but ultimately I really do. It's something about um passing around truth, and what the natural law of truth actually is. We all know that we are all born with human rights. That's not something that should be um given to you. You know what I mean? Is Ain't nobody should say like, "Yo, this is your rights that you have." Like that's crazy, and the fact that people can't take that away. The only time rights should be taken away is if somebody's violating somebody else's rights. But everybody has the right to freaking have food. Everybody has the right to have shelter. Like, ain't nobody going to say, like, yeah, certain people don't deserve food. Certain people don't deserve a warm place to stay. Who the hell says that? And if you are the type of person that says that, you're the type of person that wants everything for yourself and nothing for nobody else. I don't need that type of vibe around me, to be quite honest. That's a no-go, for real, for real. The universal truth is undefeated, and we see it every day. Back in the podcast Numbers Don't Lie, I talked about this, and I talked about how fundamental nature is in this truth and how it aligns to who we are as individuals. And I believe that any of you guys that have like goals, look at things in its natural state to understand how to accomplish your goal. A lot of things is universal. And for example, we wouldn't have a number system, language, symbols, all of these things that's extremely significant in the way we communicate and understand each other was literally by harnessing the power of nature and noticing that certain things, no matter what you do, it's set in stone. You can't break the order. It's divine. It's divine. And divine will overpowers pretty much everything. So whatever your goals are, you want to align it to whatever that divine will is. And the divine will is looking at the whole all the time, but understanding that it's unique, intricate parts that go along with the whole entire system. And when you think of it like that, you as a person individually have goals and you want to get, like, if you can accomplish it now, you would. But depending on how big your goal is and how many people it involves, that's how much longer it's going to take. You know, because it's a maturation process. It's a understanding that goes to it to set in stone this divine will. You know, look at how I talk about this all the time. The sun going up and down, and that natural cycle that no matter how you think, no matter what you taste, no matter how, like, what you see, what you feel, the sun will do that no matter what. If you die tomorrow, the sun is still going to do its damn thing. The earth is still going to rotate the same exact way. And when you set goals, this is how you want to put those goals in place. That no matter what, this is what it's going to be, and this is what the outcome is going to be if I do these things. And that's you taking the form. You know what I mean? If you are playing basketball, you would not go to a football field and start throwing a football and say that that's basketball. Yeah, it's a sport, but it has a different form. Just like I was saying with chairs and cars, and you need to understand what specific form that's best for you. And everything is not for everybody, and that's why I even said why our five senses can be an illusion. We are living in era due to technology that is being this agenda is being pushed that everybody must be alike, everybody must be the same, but that's not necessarily the case. You have to you have to find that form that's calling to you. These things that's deep in your subconscious, your unconscious, the stuff that you dream about that's longing to express itself. Your body is that vessel to make that spirit come about the way that it wants, and your mind is a way to connect your spirit and your body for that to be the case. And that's the trick. You have to align mind, body, and spirit, you know? Because if your mind's not intact, your body won't be intact, or your spirit won't be intact, or is most likely going to be both, you know? Like, if you guys listen to the previous podcast on, you know, my substance abuse and how my mind was out of whack, which means that my spirit was out of whack and my body was out of whack. And this was something that I was completely unaware of. And it took my higher faculties of the things that I really wanted to do and those crazy ass goals that I had for myself to really deeply understand where I was going wrong. And that's why the turmoil got so bad, because I deeply started understanding this stuff, but my actions wasn't lining up with the things that I understood. And going back to the beginning of this podcast, that's when I started ramping up my actions supremely OD to the point, like I said, I was putting in 6 hours every single day of extremely hard work playing basketball to the point where I would get burnt out. And mind you, I'm working during this time and the whole nine, but I was chasing my dream, and that's dangerous, man. And that's dangerous, man. And the fact, dude, this is why it's dangerous. When you burn out your body's natural resources, because the things that I'm talking about, the intangibles, thoughts, and stuff like that, you can't burn that out. There is something that's um, omnipotent about it. There's something that's infinite about it. It seems like you can never get down to the bottom of it. And it also seems like that's something that is simply just there. That's what's been tripping me up as of late, people. My thinking as of late has been kind of freaking crazy. It feels like this thing that we're in, it's not going anywhere. It's always going to be here. And I don't think that even before, something's telling me it just didn't, and just this thing just didn't pop up. The universe just didn't pop up. That don't make any sense to me. I don't care what the signs say and all of that. Till somebody physically go all the way back in the beginning of this whole entire thing and see what exactly happened, I don't really care. But it's kind of crazy to think about that we're trapped in this thing. We're trapped in this universe. There's no escaping it. And I really do believe that beyond death, you're still in this. You don't ever leave this form of existence. Now, in the physical plane, yeah. But I believe that when we die, our souls go to the source, wherever our thoughts are, wherever our thoughts is at, whatever is at the bottom of that. You know what I'm saying? In our feelings, we go to that. I don't believe that once we check out of this thing, that's it, blackout or nothing. And it's something that even just talking about our spirit, that it finds a way to always try to manifest itself into a vessel, into a physical form. Like the idea of a chair was always there. That chair wanted to be a chair, and somebody thought of it and put it together. But that thought was there regardless of that person, if you guys catch me. And that's why I say, if you deeply feeling these goals and these things that you want to do, there's a reason why you're feeling it. And if you definitely have a strong connection to those feelings, it don't really matter what people are saying around you or what they believe that you should be doing or not doing. Like I said, the five senses is quite deceitful in every single way if you don't really, I guess, take the time out to understand what it is and most importantly who you are. Um, I want to talk about 2022 as well, and for Purpose Serve. Recently, I just turned Purpose Served into a business. That's why I do apologize with my podcast output as of late. I'm one man that's trying to do a billion and one things right now. I need y'all to have faith in me, for real. But for those that's New Year, New Me people, I'm coming out with Purpose Served first product, and it's going to be a software program to help you create your goal that's most suitable for you in a plan of action that you can keep track of and monitor until the day of the goal. Like you have to accomplish that goal. So stick with me with that. My goal is to have this out by January 1st, by December 31st, just to help everybody, including myself, with the goals that we set for ourselves. And there's no reason why we shouldn't be accomplishing them, especially in a timely manner. You got to put time to your goals. Don't have it be some shit that's like way down the line, or I'm gonna get to it when I get to it. Because when it's that kind of a thing, you're never gonna get around to it, or it's gonna fizzle out, one or the other, you know. And we're also gonna be rolling in a guest as well, coming into 2021 or 2022. I just wanted to end this off with just um, you guys really, really understanding the importance of what's going on right now, the climate of the world, how much fear is induced in it, and we have to maintain our faith and show people that there's light in this darkness. You know what I mean? Or light comes with darkness. You man, you cast a light, it's going to be a shadow. But with shadow, there's always light as well. You know what I mean? They both need each other. They coincide, and there's negatives and positives. But at the same time, like I said, they're both on the same coin. So keep that in mind, and also download the podcast. Please download the podcast. Show your support. If you are new, please go on to YouTube. Support the channel. If you like content like this, there's more of it on YouTube. You know, outside of these podcasts, and I always say this. I'm a broken record when it comes to this because this is something that I genuinely believe y'all are more capable of than what y'all think. And I really want y'all to put yourself to the test to challenge me on that claim. And if you hold true to yourself, you're gonna fucking show up. We are adaptable. That means that almost any given situation, unfortunately, got some technical difficulties, but we reached the end of the podcast. Everybody that's out there, please go into this new year with high regard. Take yourself take yourself serious, man. Treat yourself with the utmost importance. And this podcast, served as a company, is always going to be there to support you no matter what. And keep pushing. Thank you guys. Serve your purpose. Deuces.